Okay, we get asked about this all the time. Downsizes, what are their options? Where do we go is what they ask us. We had this discussion fresh yesterday with a really good client. We wanted to share some solutions with you this morning. Stay tuned. Doesn't have to be scary, does it, Josh?
Not at all, not at all. It seems to be an even bigger topic as we move further and further. It's only statistics, Australia with an aging population. And so what we'll generally see is a trend of this increasing, the old downsizer into something smaller, less maintenance, generally with lift or level ground access. What are the options? What are the solutions? We had a great chat yesterday with a potential vendor, local vendor, and he happened to be someone that I think it was how's the fisheries. He was saying to us since he's been there over 30 years, he built the house himself, and really trying to navigate what his options are, how to paint the picture, what's the next step. Downsizes, Mark. It was quite an interesting chat, wasn't it?
Look, they've got a big budget as well, which is surprising. So in the northern beaches of Sydney, a house is, I guess, a general median house is worth anywhere between sort of 2.3 up to sort of 2.8. So these guys have almost $3 million that they're tossing around. They want to put a little bit of money in their back pocket, so they don't want to go and spend the same amount of money and move sideways financially. So they generally want to put, I'd say 300 to 500 in their back pocket for a rainy day, plus they got their pension, which puts them at about sort of after transactionals and stuff, puts them in the high 1 millions. And you would think in the high 1 millions there is a plethora of options available out there.
You would think so, and what we're finding a current trend of is with these downsizers moving from the big house into the unit, they still want enough room for the grandkids or the kids to visit. So generally, they are needing at least a 2-bed plus study or a three bedroom unit, which doesn't make that much change these days, Mark, does it?
No, they definitely to go into a 1-bedroom is not really an option for a couple. They really want to have that third room. So I think a secret for downsizes is 2 and a study, like you said, or those 3 rooms, which then in our area straight away puts you starting at 1.6.
Yeah, exactly right. And then then looking at even brand new, you're looking at sort of your pricing starts to edge above that 2 mil mark. So it does make that transition for them quite hard. So I mean, one of the solutions we put together yesterday for this gentleman in DY was something that was a bit out of the box, and it really allows these people to get a look into what their potential future looks like without necessarily jumping in the deep end. And that entailed essentially this gentleman and his partner renting out their current property and going and renting in the area or a like-for-like apartment or property in order for them to get a taste of, do they like the area? Can they live in a unit? Is it going to work for them? Is it something they want to do? So we found that to be a really well received and something that he probably hadn't have thought of. So, I'm going back over there today to give him a bit of an idea of, property, what's its worth if he's going to sell and make the big jump, but also if he chooses to rent the property out, what his options are, what he's got to play with. So I thought that was a really interesting a strategy for buyers, sellers, just to get an idea of where they're going and whether that's the right move for them.
Look, and rents are huge, but I don't think when you retire you think of yourself as being a landlord. So it's very counterintuitive to do something like that, but a pretty cool option because like you said, you're trying before you're buying. And for instance, this gentleman that we're talking to was talking about going to, where was the area, Hawksnet? Where was the area he wanted to go to?
think it was
Hawke's
it
Nest? No.
Blackpool Beach, I think it was, or Blacks somewhere just past Swansea just past Swansea the area was, but he was just, he's a surfer, loves to do up cars and have his own space. So I thought they went up there and had a look at the property the previous week, and they just was saying, it's great, so quiet up here, beach to ourselves, that sort of a thing. And in terms of property prices as well,
How do you
what he
know you're
was
going to
looking.
like it, though? How do you know you're going to like it? You're going to buy it, you're going to spend all that money on stamp duty, all that money on selling, and then you don't like the area? Rent it. See if you like it first. Rent out the property where you are and go and rent up north.
Exactly right. Go and see. I think it's about looking outside the box as to where and what your money can do for you and what it can buy. But it was a really good discussion you almost sort of, as we left, he's like really considered the idea of renting out there and thinking, actually, you know what, that's a great idea. Instead of, ball to the hammer, all in, and then it either works out or it doesn't. Well, at least he's got a bit of a fail safe, because we worked out that his potential rent on the property would more than cover the rent down at the Central Coast, with some spare change as well to cover any extra costs along the way. So it was pretty much a free stab into the research, into the idea of, is this going to work for me? So that's what it also really worked out really quite well. The fact that it's not going to cost him anything potentially to go and to do that research and have a little look for himself.
Well, I love the concept of the retirees freak out most about strata levies. And I think he was saying that yesterday. He was going to look, after my strata, water, council levies, he said, mate, I could be paying 8,000, 9,000, 12,000 in council rates and strata water council. And I said to him yesterday, well, how much is your house insurance? He said, it's 2,400. And straight away you saw him go, oh, well, I'm not paying house insurance. So I think for today, if you just tuned in, we're talking about options for downsizers. And I do think that they won't choose the option of units or strata because they're worried about strata levies. But I really want people to have a cold hard think about what they spend in the course of a year in their house. I challenge to say it's going to be actually more than what a strata is going to be. People won't believe me, but it is. You've got to look at every single cost, including insurances and water usage and that sort of stuff, because often the water usage in these buildings is all included in your strata usage. You don't have separate meters. And then houses, moving out of northern beaches, was an option for this gentleman. He renting it, he loved, I think, also because he had a caravan and he'd never been around Australia. And he was thinking, man, if I've got $2,000 a week and I'm in a caravan, I'm going to live really well over the next year. So his eyes lit up with that. But the nice thing is you've also got your Northern Beaches house going up still. So if you rent it for 1, 2, 3 years and the value of the property goes up, you're going to enjoy that capital growth as well as enjoying the rent. So not a bad idea, guys and girls.
Yeah, not a bad idea at all. And I think where we're going to see a lot of this happen is probably towards it. We've got a Belrose collection, which is a sort of the first for the area. There's not much supply in regards to units, and it is a heavily demographically geared to your sort of residents that have sit down and bought there and they've stayed there for the last 20, 30 years. I've met a few of them down there myself, and it really is a matter of, look, Josh, too much maintenance. This is great. Opposite a shopping centre. I'm in the roots of where I am. Friends are close. Family are close.
Yeah, doctors, everything.
Yeah, and I think another thing that I thought we would stress as well was generally that making that first step has always been a big challenge for a lot of people I'm speaking to. Just to get an idea of, yes, you might tell me it's worth this. Someone else might tell me it's worth that. But, sort of getting a look into what the market's real reaction to its value, and something that is an easy way for a vendor to sort of get those answers and questions answered in the form of our pre-market strategy as well. So I thought that our discussions yesterday really took to the idea of getting some market feedback, buyers through without necessarily having to financially commit or market his property. So I believe that that's been quite a bit of an important step for a lot of people I've been speaking about, of just a pre-market approach, no commitment from yourselves in terms of financial, but you're getting that true value and representation from the market itself without necessarily committing to a full campaign.
Well, Josh, it's such a Geronimo jump for someone who's 70 or 75 years of age. It's such a Geronimo jump to buy and not know exactly what you're going to sell your property for, or it's such a Geronimo jump to sell without knowing what you're going to buy. So it's like, does the dog wag the tail or tail wag the dog? Chicken come for the egg come for the chicken. You're not really sure. So I love that option that you offered him yesterday, saying, don't put it to auction. Don't put it on realestate.com. Let us bring for $0. Let's do let's professionally bring through our best buyers in our database. Then at that point, turn it up, pause the campaign for 3, 6, 9, 12 months and go, right, I've got the IP information for pricing on what I need, or double down, okay, let's do an auction or let's sell it at that point. So that sort of I think there's a couple of solutions there that people could talk to their real estate agents about, not only with stock, but I think with talking about strata we've spoken about today, and I think also talking about a selling solution that's not too hectic or scary for a senior. There's some or costly. Because some of those campaigns, you may put on the market for 10 grand and then decide you're not going to sell and go, what did I go through that process for? Almost had a heart attack.
Exactly right, and that's why I think it's such a great tool that we offer and service. So take advantage of it, guys, because there's no truer price and valuing on property than what someone's willing to offer to pay for it.
Boom, boom. Thank you, Mr. Mapshot.
Thank you, Mr. Novak.
And congratulations on interest rates being reduced, everybody.
Yes,
Woo!
yes. Congratulations. Hopefully a few more in store for us this year. That would be fantastic.
Hope so. Have a good day.
See you guys.
Yeah.